The victory over Lord Obsidian was but a fleeting moment of peace. Deep within the dark reaches of the multiverse, an ancient and far more powerful enemy stirs. The rift in space-time, a gateway to a forgotten dimension, begins to crack open once more. This time, it's not just a single Dark Lord that emerges, but an army that seeks to consume everything in its path. As the rift tears further open, a familiar energy begins to radiate through the fabric of the universe. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan sense the danger immediately. But this time, the threat feels different, more powerful, more ancient. The Saiyans prepare for another battle, but this one might require more than just raw strength. In a sudden and brutal strike, the first wave of the army emerges from the rift. These beings are not like the shadow soldiers they've faced before. These are ancient warriors, known as the specters of the void, beings of pure darkness that devour everything in their path. With their immense power, they begin their assault on Earth. Realizing that their previous power might not be enough to withstand this new threat, Goku and Vegeta begin to push their limits even further. Trunks, now a seasoned warrior, taps into his hidden potential, and Gohan calls upon the teachings of the ancient Saiyan gods. Together, they begin to unlock a power beyond their wildest imaginations, a power that has never been seen before. With their newfound power, the Saiyans march into battle, determined to protect their home. The specters of the void clash with the Saiyan warriors in an all-out war. Each blow echoes through the atmosphere, causing shockwaves that ripple across the planet. The warriors fight with everything they have, but the power of the Void Army is overwhelming. As the battle reaches its most intense moment, one of the specters prepares to unleash a final, devastating attack that would destroy the Earth. In an act of ultimate sacrifice, Goku and Vegeta combine their powers once again, creating a final, cataclysmic blast. But this time, they are not alone. Trunks and Gohan join in, creating a massive energy wave that engulfs the battlefield. The specters of the void are defeated, and the Earth is saved once again. But the warriors know that peace is always fleeting. As the skies clear and the battle subsides, they look toward the horizon, aware that even greater threats may rise again. Their journey, though victorious, is far from over. After the fall of the Void Specters, the multiverse still trembles under the echoes of chaos. Far across dimensions, one warrior stands alone on a shattered world, Broly, a being of limitless power and untapped potential, now given a choice that could shape existence itself, to become the ultimate guardian of all realities. The Supreme Kai from various universes appear before Broly. They reveal a prophecy of a warrior born not to destroy, but to protect the threads of time, space, and life. Broly, once consumed by rage, is chosen by the multiverse itself. To harness his immense power, Broly is sent to train with Whis and the ancient Kai of Universe Zero, a realm outside known existence. There, he learns to balance his fury with control, his instinct with wisdom. A new threat emerges from beyond the multiverse, the Devourers, entities that feed on collapsing realities. They begin consuming weaker timelines, warping space, and enslaving broken gods. The multiverse sends its new guardian, Broly. Broly unleashes a power never seen before, a form beyond legendary Super Saiyan. Dubbed Primal Ascendant Broly, he wields the fury of creation and destruction in balance. The Devourers are pushed back across dimensional borders. Offered godhood, Broly declines. He chooses instead to be a wandering protector, watching over timelines that cannot defend themselves. From a monster to a guardian, Broly's journey becomes legend. The Supreme Kai of Time, Kranoa, visits Frieza moments after his revival by the Dragon Balls. She offers him a deal: help restore broken timelines, and in return, gain access to forbidden knowledge and the power to reshape his fate. Donning a new Time Patrol armor infused with temporal energy, Frieza begins his first mission, stopping a rogue version of Bardock who has absorbed the power of the Time Breakers. Frieza now must fight not out of malice, but for order. Though still arrogant, Frieza begins to understand the fragility of time. He witnesses timelines where he is destroyed by insignificant mortals, and others where he rules, but at the cost of universal collapse. Slowly, his perspective shifts. Tawa, leader of the Time Breakers, launches a multiversal assault, targeting key events like the Saiyan genocide and the Tournament of Power. Frieza leads a time patrol unit to defend the flow of history. Given the chance to rewrite his past, save his empire, his father, or even prevent Goku's rise, Frieza pauses. He looks toward the future instead and seals his timeline, vowing to guard it with honor, not tyranny. Goten, the forgotten prodigy of Universe 7, lived in the shadows of his brother. But what if destiny took a different turn? What if the god of destruction and his angel attendant took him under their wing from childhood? After the Majin Buu Saga, Whis visits Earth and notices Goten's raw potential. Amused by his untapped power, Beerus orders Whis to bring the boy to their world for entertainment. Chi-Chi hesitates, but Goku agrees, sensing fate at play. Goten begins intense training under Whis, mastering ultra speed and precision. Beerus, though aloof, starts to teach Goten the mindset of a destroyer. The boy's innocence and joy contrast with the divine energy he wields. Years pass, and Goten unlocks a hybrid form, part Saiyan Rage, part God Ki. He gains a unique transformation, Destroyer Ascension, a violet aura form fueled by balance, not emotion. Even Goku is shocked by his son's growth. When Moro escapes from galactic prison, Goten is dispatched by Whis to intercept him. The battle is brutal. Goten uses his Destroyer Touch technique, nearly erasing Moro completely. But he chooses mercy, showing a maturity beyond his years. Beerus, impressed and proud, considers Goten as a candidate to succeed him as Universe 7's next god of destruction. Goten, torn between Earth and duty, asks for time to choose. He returns to Earth as a guardian in training. Android 16, the gentle giant built for destruction, fell in the Cell Saga. But what if Dr. Briefs and Bulma resurrected him? Not as a weapon, but as a protector of life. Years after the Cell Games, Bulma recovers pieces of Android 16's damaged body. With Dr. Brief's help, she revives him, removing the kill code and programming compassion. When he awakens, 16 is confused, but the birdsong calms him. Living in Capsule Corp, 16 learns to grow vegetables, protect the city, and even babysits Bulma. He bonds with Gohan, who still remembers his sacrifice. Despite his past, Earth begins to accept him, not as a machine, but a soul. A new faction of the Red Ribbon Army emerges, aiming to steal 16's AI core to build a new android army. When they attack West City, 16 defends the people with his new directive, protect all life. Overwhelmed but undeterred, 16 sacrifices his core to destroy the Red Ribbon reactor. He's presumed dead, until Whis, watching from afar, restores him with divine energy, curious about this soul of metal and mercy. Now reborn with celestial energy and free will, 16 becomes Earth's silent guardian. He meditates in forests, stops threats without glory, and teaches others the power of gentleness over violence. The humble reincarnation of Majin Buu is meant to be Earth's hope. But what if, from the moment of birth, he possessed the dormant power of Ultra Instinct, an instinctual divine power even gods struggle to master? Even as a toddler, Ub can dodge falling pots, catch insects mid-air, and sense danger without knowing why. Village elders whisper that the boy is protected by the gods. But it isn't protection, it's Ultra Instinct. Years later at the World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku senses something unimaginable in Ub, a divine stillness, a void of thought and movement. During their match, Ub briefly enters Ultra Instinct, shocking even the gods. Goku takes Ub to train at Beerus' planet. Whis is fascinated. Unlike Goku, Ub doesn't struggle to activate Ultra Instinct, it activates him. Whis begins shaping Ub not just as a warrior, but as a cosmic balance keeper. An ancient destroyer, sealed since the dawn of time, awakens in Universe 3. The gods panic. None are strong enough to stop him. Ub volunteers. With Ultra Instinct fully awakened, he meets the destroyer in a battle that shakes time itself. After defeating the destroyer not with rage but clarity, Ub is offered the mantle of a guardian, not just of Earth, but of balance across all universes. He accepts, walking the fine line between mortal instinct and divine calm. In the shadow of his younger brother Goku, Raditz was cast aside, a weak warrior with no future. But what if fate had chosen him as the legendary Super Saiyan, a being of uncontrollable power destined to shake the cosmos? From childhood, Raditz experienced uncontrollable bursts of rage, blowing apart combat pods, nearly killing fellow soldiers in training. King Vegeta feared him and ordered suppressive implants to contain his power. Years later, when Raditz arrives on Earth to find Kakarot, a confrontation with Piccolo and Goku triggers a partial awakening. His hair flickers green, muscles bulge, and the sky darkens. Earth trembles, not from power, but prophecy. Raditz loses control, vaporizing a mountain range and critically wounding Goku. But when Gohan cries out, Raditz pauses, memories flash of his own forgotten childhood. The beast within trembles. For the first time, Raditz chooses to stop. Vegeta and Nappa arrive expecting to punish Raditz. Instead, they find a legend. Raditz easily crushes Nappa, and Vegeta, a proud prince, kneels, not out of respect, but of survival. The balance of Saiyan power shatters. Realizing his fate is larger than revenge, Raditz sets out across the stars, not as a conqueror, but as a guardian of Saiyan redemption. The legendary Super Saiyan becomes a symbol, not of rage, but of choice. Frieza, emperor of cruelty, destroyer of worlds. But what if his talents caught the eye of the gods themselves? What if, instead of falling to Goku, Frieza was chosen by a god of destruction and trained to become one? On Beerus's world, Frieza endures tormenting training under Whis, speed, discipline, and most of all, restraint. The golden form is perfected, but Whis whispers of a greater gift, God Ki. To earn the title of Destroyer, Frieza must erase a rogue star system without bias. No cruelty, no anger, just balance. He succeeds, but questions everything. Am I God or monster with rules? Frieza returns to Universe 7 during a multiversal summit. Goku feels it instantly. This isn't the tyrant he knew. In a friendly spar, Frieza now uses Hakai techniques with elegance, not rage. Though granted the title, Frieza walks a fine line. He rules not with terror, but cosmic law. Yet deep inside, the tyrant still whispers, will he remain divine, or fall again into the abyss? In Universe 6, a baby Saiyan named Kakarot is born not to conquer, but to protect. Raised on planet Sadala, the boy quickly displays unmatched potential and a kind heart, a rarity among warriors. Instead of Grandpa Gohan, young Kakarot is mentored by Kaba and trained in Sadalan martial arts. His power surges, but so does his desire to understand the universe and his place in it. Meeting Caulifla and Kale, Goku finds both rivalry and inspiration. Their fierce spirits ignite a fire in him, one that pushes him toward the legendary Super Saiyan transformation far earlier. His power draws the attention of Kampa and Vados. The god of destruction sees a potential champion for Universe 6, while Vados offers to train him in divine techniques, should he prove worthy. To earn the right to train with Vados, Goku must face Universe SIX's strongest assassin, Hit. The battle is swift, brutal, and brilliant. And for the first time, Hit sees someone who can adapt to time skip mid-fight. Born with uncontrollable power and a heart full of pain, Broly's fate was forged in rage and exile. But what if someone had intervened, someone divine? What if Broly had been raised by Whis? After sensing a monstrous power on a distant world, Whis visits planet Vampa and discovers an infant Saiyan surrounded by chaos, Broly. Rather than leave him to his fate, Whis takes him to the angel realm. Under Whis's guidance, Broly learns to channel his rage into balance, his power into harmony. The divine training stabilizes his berserk nature, turning him into a graceful yet deadly warrior. Years later, Broly travels with Whis to Earth, where he meets Goku and Vegeta, not as an enemy, but as a student of peace. Goku is stunned by Broly's serene energy despite his immense strength. To test Broly's limits, Whis arranges a sparring match with Beerus. The clash of raw power and divine destruction shakes dimensions. Broly, now focused and centered, matches the god of destruction blow for blow. Frieza, ruthless emperor of the universe, born with incredible power, yet never trained a day in his life. But what if that changed? What if the angel Whis took Frieza under his wing? After Frieza's revival, Whis approaches him, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Impressed by Frieza's growth in such a short time, Whis offers to train him to control and master his power like a true god. The training is brutal. Whis pushes Frieza to his limits, forcing him to abandon his pride and face his inner demons. Meditation, reflex mastery, and key flow techniques become daily routines. Frieza evolves beyond golden form. With Whis' teachings, he achieves a new transformation, Divine Frieza. Radiating calm yet terrifying power, he becomes a godlike figure feared even by Beerus. Frieza returns to Universe 7 not as a conqueror, but as a god of balance. Goku and Vegeta challenge him, but they're overwhelmed by his newfound control and divine strength. In the dark future of Dragon Ball, Gohan made the ultimate sacrifice to protect Earth from the androids and the terrifying threat of the future. But what if Gohan had survived? What if, instead of falling in battle, he had taken Goten under his wing to train him, preparing him for the challenges ahead? In this altered timeline, Gohan survives the final battle against the androids. Instead of falling in battle, he manages to defeat them, but not without consequence. The fight has left Earth scarred, and the danger of more powerful foes looms in the distance. Realizing that the future is uncertain and that new threats are inevitable, Gohan takes it upon himself to train Goten. His younger brother's potential is enormous, and Gohan sees it as his duty to prepare Goten for the battles yet to come. Goten begins his training under the guidance of the warrior who once saved Earth, his older brother, Gohan. Under Gohan's tutelage, Goten pushes past his previous limitations. His Saiyan potential awakens fully as he taps into his true power. In time, Goten achieves a new level of Super Saiyan, one that blends strength, speed, and precision, no longer the playful child, but a warrior in his own right. Now, with both brothers stronger than ever, a new enemy emerges from the shadows, more dangerous than the androids and more cunning. The Z Fighters are called upon to defend Earth once again, and Goten stands by Gohan, ready to face the coming storm. The final battle begins as Goten and Gohan face their most dangerous adversary yet. Their bond as brothers is their strength, but it will be tested in the most intense battle they've ever fought. With the fate of Earth on the line, the two warriors unleash everything they have, an unstoppable force forged from the legacy of Goku and the teachings of Gohan. In a world where Majin Buu was never released from his prison, the events of Dragon Ball Z unfold very differently. Without the chaos and destruction brought by Buu, Earth enjoys a period of peace, but how long can that last? What new threats will arise to challenge the Z Fighters? And how will the absence of Buu change the course of history? Without the threat of Majin Buu's release, Earth remains safe for a time. The Z Fighters, now accustomed to living without constant battles, focus on rebuilding and training. Goku and Vegeta continue their rivalry, but there's no urgent need for them to push their limits. Life seems peaceful, but the Z Fighters know better than to become complacent. However, peace does not last forever. A new threat emerges from the shadows, something more dangerous than anything the Z Fighters have faced. A new villain rises, using a powerful dark energy that threatens not only Earth, but the very fabric of the universe itself. The Z Fighters must come together once more to defend their world, but this time, they may be facing something they cannot defeat alone. Recognizing the danger, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and the others prepare to face this new enemy. They must combine their strengths and work together in ways they've never done before. With Majin Buu's absence, they realize that their usual methods of combat may not be enough. They must evolve their strategies and push their limits further than ever before. The new villain, a being of pure dark energy, is revealed to be a powerful entity from another dimension. His goal is to absorb the energy of entire planets, increasing his strength exponentially. With the power of his dark magic and an army of loyal followers, he becomes a terrifying threat to the Z Fighters. This is not a foe they can defeat with brute force alone. To face this new adversary, the Z Fighters must adapt. Goku and Vegeta train harder than ever, pushing their Super Saiyan powers to the next level. Gohan, too, taps into new potential, seeking the answers within himself. With the power of teamwork, they launch a full assault on the villain, determined to protect their world at all costs. Imagine a timeline where Vegeta never changed. What if the Saiyan Prince stayed true to his ruthless and prideful nature, never being influenced by Goku's kindness or the bond he formed with Earth's people? How would this affect the Z fighters and the fate of the universe? In this What If, we explore a reality where Vegeta remains the villain he once was. Vegeta's pride has always been his defining characteristic, and in this timeline, it grows even stronger. After the defeat of the Saiyan invasion, he never softens. Rather than learning the value of compassion from Goku, Vegeta turns his anger and pride into an unyielding desire for domination. He declares himself the ultimate ruler of the universe, and no one, not even Frieza, will stop him. Vegeta's refusal to change affects his relationship with the Z fighters. Goku and the others try to reason with him, but he remains adamant, believing that Earth and its people are beneath him. His rivalry with Goku intensifies, turning from friendly competition to deadly conflict. Instead of fighting alongside the Z fighters, Vegeta now seeks to destroy them, each battle becoming a battle for dominance. Vegeta's lust for power leads him to make dangerous alliances. He seeks out Frieza once again, offering to join forces in exchange for a share of the universe's domination. Together, they form an alliance more powerful than ever before, and with Vegeta's pure hatred for Goku and the Earth, they set their sights on complete annihilation. The Z fighters, no longer able to rely on Vegeta as an ally, must prepare for the greatest battle of their lives. The Z fighters launch a desperate counterattack, knowing that they have no choice but to fight against Vegeta and Frieza. Goku and Vegeta's rivalry reaches a boiling point, and the two engage in an epic battle. With Goku's heart still holding on to hope, and Vegeta's pride and hatred fueling him, the fight becomes more than just a battle for the fate of Earth. It becomes a battle for the soul of the Saiyan race. In the end, it's not just power that will decide the outcome of this war, it's the heart. Goku, never giving up on his rival, uses his greatest technique to try and reach Vegeta's heart one last time. Will the Saiyan Prince succumb to his pride and ambition, or will he find redemption? The battle is fierce, and the universe hangs in the balance. What if Goku had never hit his head as a child? Would he still become the heroic fighter we know today? Without the injury that erased his memory of being a Saiyan, Goku might have followed a very different path, one where he retained his true nature as a ruthless warrior. Let's dive into a timeline where Goku's innocence was never lost. From the moment he was born, Goku knew he was a Saiyan, and his natural strength and combat prowess were evident from a young age. Instead of being raised in isolation by Grandpa Gohan, he was trained to be a warrior from birth, under the guidance of the harsh and demanding Saiyan lifestyle. Without the head injury that caused his memory loss, Goku never forgets his true nature as a powerful fighter. Instead of being humble and carefree, Goku grows up with the pride and ruthlessness of the Saiyan race. He becomes more like Vegeta, relentless in his pursuit of strength and power. The Z fighters, who would have been his allies, are now his rivals, as Goku pushes everyone around him to become stronger and more ruthless in battle. His bond with Earth's people is absent, as he sees them only as tools for his own ambition. As Goku grows more powerful, he becomes increasingly detached from his friends. His rivalry with Vegeta reaches new heights, and soon, it becomes clear that the two Saiyans are on a path of destruction. Goku sees no reason to hold back, even when fighting his own allies. He pushes them to their limits, expecting nothing less than perfection in battle, with no regard for their well-being. The Z fighters begin to question whether Goku is truly the hero they once knew. With his unyielding thirst for power, Goku eventually encounters Frieza once again. In this timeline, Goku doesn't hesitate to join forces with Frieza, recognizing that together, they could rule the universe. The two Saiyans form a brutal alliance, and together, they set out to destroy anyone who stands in their way. With Goku's pride now fully intact, he is no longer the naive boy from Earth. He is a true force of destruction. The Z fighters must now face not only Frieza's army, but also the overwhelming might of Goku himself. Goku's betrayal cuts deep, and the Z fighters must fight against the very person they once called a friend. As Goku faces off against his old allies, he shows no mercy, driven by his desire for ultimate control. The fate of Earth and the universe itself hangs in the balance, as Goku becomes the greatest threat they've ever faced. What if Trunks never traveled back in time to warn the Z fighters about the androids? Without his intervention, how would the events of the future unfold? And would Earth ever survive the terror of the androids and Cell? Let's explore a world where Trunks' journey never happened and the Z fighters face a darker future. In this timeline, the future that Trunks knows is one of chaos and destruction. With the androids running rampant, no one is left to fight them except a handful of surviving Z fighters. Trunks is left with the overwhelming task of protecting the remnants of Earth's population. But the androids continue to terrorize the planet with no real opposition. The androids, now in full control of the Earth, continue their reign of terror, with no one to challenge their power. Their relentless attacks leave the remaining survivors in a state of constant fear. Meanwhile, without Trunks' warning, the Z fighters in the past are ill-prepared for the coming threat. The Earth continues to decay as the androids become more and more destructive, unchecked, and unstoppable. With the androids in control, the timeline shifts dramatically. Cell, having been created by Dr. Gero, becomes the ultimate weapon of destruction. Without the Z fighters ever intervening, Cell's power continues to grow unchecked. His evolution goes unchallenged as he absorbs the androids, becoming stronger with every passing day. The future now seems hopeless, with no one able to stop his destructive rampage. Trunks, devastated by the loss of his friends and the unstoppable rise of the androids in Cell, gathers what few fighters remain. He begins a final stand, hoping to somehow take down the androids before Cell becomes too powerful. However, without the intervention of the Z fighters from the past, his efforts are in vain. The future grows darker with each passing moment, and Trunks is left with little hope. Cell's power has reached its peak, and there is no one left who can stop him. Trunks' final battle ends in tragedy as he faces off against the fully evolved Cell. With the fate of the future sealed, Trunks realizes the magnitude of his failure. Earth is doomed, and no amount of fighting can change the outcome. The androids and Cell reign supreme, and the world is left in ruins. What if Goku had stayed dead after the Saiyan saga? Without his return, how would the Z fighters cope with the ever-increasing threats from enemies like the androids, Frieza's army, and even the mighty Cell? Let's explore a timeline where Goku's absence from Earth changes everything. After Goku's sacrifice in the fight against Raditz and Vegeta, the Earth is left without its strongest protector. The Z fighters, including Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin, are left to face the looming threats alone. Without Goku's presence, the fighters must rise to the occasion, pushing their limits and becoming stronger just to protect the planet from external forces. Without Goku's return, the androids are never truly stopped. Dr. Gero's creations wreak havoc on Earth, and the Z fighters struggle to hold their ground. Piccolo, who once trained Goku, now takes the lead, but the androids' overwhelming power continues to destroy the planet. Gohan, despite his potential, struggles to control his strength without his father's guidance. Without Goku's legendary strength, the Z fighters are unprepared for Frieza's return. The tyrant, having survived in the universe, comes back stronger than ever, seeking revenge on those who caused his downfall. Piccolo, Gohan, and the others must face Frieza in an epic battle, but the odds are against them. With Goku still dead, their chances of victory are slim. Cell, having been created by Dr. Gero, becomes an even greater threat without Goku's intervention. His power grows unchecked as he absorbs androids 17 and 18. The Z fighters are left to confront him, but without Goku's strategic mind and strength, they struggle to put up a fight. The future seems bleak, and Earth is on the brink of annihilation. As Cell's power reaches its peak, Gohan and Piccolo make a desperate stand. Gohan, having unlocked his potential, is the last hope for Earth. In a final battle, Gohan channels all of his power, but it's a fight that seems unwinnable without Goku's guiding presence. As Cell's reign of terror continues, Earth's fate hangs by a thread, and the Z fighters wonder if they can ever truly stop him. What if Vegeta had become the Super Saiyan before Goku? How would the Dragon Ball Z universe change if the proud Saiyan Prince unlocked his legendary transformation first? Let's explore the consequences of this alternate timeline, where Vegeta takes center stage in the battle against the mighty Frieza and beyond. Vegeta, already a powerful and proud warrior, is the first to unlock the Super Saiyan form during his battle with Frieza on Namek. Fueled by his hatred for the tyrant, Vegeta's power surges to new heights, and he effortlessly overwhelms Frieza's forces. His newfound strength puts him in the spotlight, and his pride fuels his desire to be the strongest fighter in the universe. With Vegeta becoming the first Super Saiyan, Frieza realizes the true threat that the Saiyan Prince poses. The tyrant fights desperately to hold his ground, but Vegeta's power overwhelms him. The battle reaches a breaking point, and without Goku's intervention, Vegeta defeats Frieza in his base form, much to Frieza's shock. The tyrant's reign ends, and Namek is spared from destruction. With Frieza defeated, Vegeta's reputation as the most powerful warrior in the universe skyrockets. He returns to Earth as a hero, but his pride leads to tensions with the Z fighters. Vegeta, still stubborn and ambitious, has little regard for Earth's safety, focusing only on his own power. The Z fighters, including Piccolo and Gohan, must now work with Vegeta to face future threats like the androids and Cell. As the androids are released, Vegeta is forced to team up with the Z fighters to stop them. However, his arrogance leads to disastrous consequences, as he underestimates the power of androids 17 and 18. The androids wreak havoc on Earth, and Vegeta must come to terms with the fact that he can't fight alone. When Cell emerges as the ultimate threat, Vegeta realizes the importance of working with the Z fighters. Cell, having absorbed the androids, becomes more powerful than ever. Vegeta, having learned the value of teamwork, leads the Z fighters in a final assault. With Gohan unlocking his potential, the battle against Cell reaches its climax. However, Vegeta's leadership and newfound humility play a crucial role in orchestrating the final strike, ensuring Earth's survival. What if Goku had trained with Master Roshi even before the events of the Saiyan Saga? What if he started his training under the guidance of the legendary Turtle Hermit, honing his skills from an even earlier age? Let's delve into this alternate timeline, where Goku's early training with Master Roshi could have changed the course of history in the Dragon Ball universe. From a young age, Goku's incredible potential was already apparent. But in this alternate timeline, Goku begins his formal training with Master Roshi much earlier, learning not only the basics of martial arts, but also the deeper principles of discipline and power control. With Master Roshi's guidance, Goku becomes more disciplined and focused, mastering the Kamehameha and other techniques long before his first tournament. With Goku's increased strength and discipline, he faces opponents like Pilaf and the Red Ribbon Army with ease, defeating them much faster than in the original timeline. His early training helps him learn to control his power, making him a more strategic fighter. Even the deadly General Blue and the androids he faces later in the series would be no match for Goku's improved abilities. By the time Goku enters the World Martial Arts Tournament, his skills are far beyond what they were in the original timeline. With Master Roshi's guidance, Goku wins the tournament with ease, dominating every match with his superior strength and techniques. His victory inspires others, including Krillin, who now trains more seriously under Roshi's tutelage. As the Saiyan Saga arrives, Goku's power level has been elevated significantly. Having already mastered basic martial arts and techniques under Master Roshi, Goku faces Vegeta and Nappa with far more control over his power. His earlier experience and training allow him to strategize better, and when facing Frieza on Namek, Goku is more than prepared to defeat him much earlier, even without the need to tap into the Super Saiyan form. With his earlier training, Goku's path diverges drastically from the original timeline. He avoids some of the major battles and obstacles that would have tested him, but his journey takes on a different tone. Goku's transformation into a hero is accelerated, and he becomes a beacon of hope for Earth even earlier, inspiring others to fight for justice. His growth as a fighter and a person ensures that Earth's defenders are better prepared for the challenges ahead. What if Goku had never hit his head as a baby? Would he still be the cheerful, innocent warrior we know? Or would his personality and destiny have been altered forever? In this alternate timeline, let's explore how Goku's life might have unfolded if that fateful injury had never occurred. In the original timeline, Goku's head injury caused him to lose all memories of his Saiyan heritage and led to his kind, carefree nature. Without the injury, Goku retains the memories of his true origins as a Saiyan warrior. From a young age, he would know of his incredible strength and the potential dangers of his power. Would this knowledge make him more ruthless or more responsible? How would it affect his early years on Earth? Without the bump on his head, Goku grows up with a more serious and strategic mindset. He is aware of his power and begins training more intensively from a young age. Rather than the carefree adventurer, Goku is more like a disciplined warrior, prepared for the challenges he knows are coming. His encounters with people like Master Roshi, Bulma, and Krillin are still important, but he takes everything more seriously, perhaps even becoming more of a loner. As Goku grows older, he becomes a formidable fighter much sooner than in the original timeline. His early knowledge of his Saiyan abilities and the potential for destruction gives him the drive to master his power before facing opponents like the Red Ribbon Army. His training is relentless, and he defeats enemies faster, including defeating a stronger Pilaf, Emperor Pilaf's minions, and others who might have posed a significant threat. Once the Saiyan Saga arrives, Goku's earlier knowledge of his Saiyan heritage makes him a much stronger opponent. He doesn't need to struggle with his identity or power, he embraces it fully. When he faces Vegeta, he's not the unsure, new Saiyan that we know from the original timeline. Instead, he's a seasoned fighter who can take on Vegeta head-on, perhaps even beating him without the need for the Spirit Bomb. As Goku's path diverges from the original timeline, Earth's future changes as well. With his earlier training and awareness of his Saiyan nature, Goku may have been the Earth's protector much sooner. His growth as a fighter allows him to deal with threats such as Frieza's army, Cell, and Majin Buu earlier, perhaps preventing some of the most devastating battles Earth would have faced. His early victories changed the course of history, leading to a more peaceful Earth.